All right, kiddos. So this is lesson P.4. This will be the first part of it. I'll talk about slope. I'll talk about point slope form and slope intercept form in this particular lesson. Okay, and all of this stuff you've seen before. So I'm going to go through it pretty quickly, but it is all stuff that you will need for this school year. So I want to make sure that I formally give it to you in a lesson. So P4, lines in the plane. And so the first thing that you need to understand is the slope of a line. So when we graph a line on a coordinate plane, we can sort of judge that line by its position on the coordinate plane and then by how fast it rises or falls. And that how fast it rises or falls is a determination of slope. Okay, so if a line falls a lot, if a line falls, right? How do we tell it's different from any other line that falls? Well, we use a slope, right? And if two lines are parallel, well, they're going to have the same rise or the same fall as we go left to right. Okay, so that determination of slope is going to be important to us, all right? And you'll see a couple key things. All right, so let's go ahead and plot these points. So we got -1, 2, boom, -1, 2, and we got 4, -2, 1, 2, 3, 4, -2. All right, and then we can go ahead and we can draw this line. Now the slope of this line is basically how fast this line will fall from left to right. Now, it's not just that it falls from this point to this point. If I kind of made a little right triangle underneath it, it's not that it just falls 4 units, okay? Because there's a lot of lines that fall 4 units from one point to another. Well, how fast does it go from 4 units down? Well, it goes 4 units down every time it goes 4 units to the right, okay? So as you can see, 5 units to the right. So it goes down 4 every time it goes 5 units to the right. And that's a determination of its slope, okay? So the slope for this particular line, we call this M, is -4/5. Now you can do this by drawing the triangle underneath like I just did, or you can use the slope formula, which is what you see above this. The slope formula is M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You guys should be familiar with this, all right? So I basically take the 2 points and I subtract the y's and I subtract the x's and then put it into a formula, all right? So I've got -2 minus 2 over 4 minus -1. That's not what I want. So that 4 minus -1. All right, so then you can see how that simplifies to -4/5. So you can do it either way, all right? If you're graphing, then you can just go ahead and do that. All right, so you should have no trouble with that, but that at least gives you an example. And you guys will do those checkpoints just to make sure, all right? So let's move into point slope form. So as you can see, this formula that I just went over, I can actually take that and multiply this piece on both sides. So if I multiplied this piece on both sides and brought it basically essentially over here, I would have this one. That's point slope form, okay? So it's if you know this formula, then you can rewrite it to this form. Okay, so I mean, a lot of the times people get so hung up on knowing all these formulas. Well, this formula is just a rewritten version of the one I just showed you. So if you know one, you know the other, all right? So let's try an example in point slope form, and I'll show you why point slope form is helpful. So if you read this particular example, read the equation, point slope form, blah, 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 with a slope of 2 and passes through the point -3, -4. Well, what did they provide you? They provided you the point and the slope. Oh, point slope form. When they provided me the point and the slope. So hopefully you're kind of getting the idea. Oh, all right, well, if they provide me these two things, then maybe I'll use the point slope form. All right. Does it matter if you use slope intercept form instead? No, unless the question asks for point slope form, like it does in this one. But it's just sort of adding another tool to your toolbox, so to speak. All right. So I'm going to start with point slope form. So that's did they use y minus y1? Yeah. So y minus y1 equals m over x minus x1. So that's what you got. Always start with the formula. It's just good practice. I know it's an extra step, but just do it. It's going to save you from making a mistake. So then you've got y minus, what is our y1? Well, it's -4. What is our slope? It's 2. X minus, what is our x1? It's -3. So then here I've got y plus 4 equals 2x plus 3, like so. Now is that in point slope form? Yes, technically that's in point slope form. I know that your tendency is going to be, oh, well, I got to subtract this 4. Well, if you subtract that 4, then you won't be in this form anymore. So you don't need to do that. This is done. You just got to plug this stuff in. All right, it's pretty simple. All right, don't make it more complicated. All right, so go ahead and do those checkpoints. And finally, slope intercept, the one that everybody's probably really familiar with. Y equals mx plus b. And then what you can see here is, oh, well, they gave me the slope and they gave me a point, Mr. Beatty. Why am I not using point slope form? Well, because the question didn't ask for it, right? Could I use point slope form and then just switch it over to slope intercept? Sure. Okay. Let's actually do it that way. So we have the slope and the point. So we'll start with point slope form. Okay. I'll plug in the stuff that they've given me. Y minus my 6 equals my slope, which is 3, x minus my x value. And then I will simplify like that. All right, now this is point slope form. All right, but like the question said, I don't want point slope form, I want slope intercept. So slope intercept has y by itself. So let's get y by itself. So I'll add the 6. Come over here. And then I'll do y equals 3 times x plus 1 plus 6. Now, is that in slope intercept form yet? No, it's not. I'll just distribute my 3 in. Y equals 3x plus 3 plus 6. Y equals 3x plus 9. Now, this might not be the way that you're familiar with. You can do it. You can plug in your slope and your x and your y into slope intercept and then find the b value, which I can show you as well. But ultimately, you can use point slope. I like using the form that matches the given information. Since they gave me slope and point, I'm going to use point slope form to start, and then just switch it to the form that they're asking for. All right, so then you'll do the checkpoints that follow, and then we are good for the day. All right.